video, we are going to go over the turnout expectations for both pleasure driving and combined driving. Let's begin with pleasure driving. According to the American Driving Society, carriage pleasure driving shows may include obstacle driving, pleasure drives on trails and roads, and ring classes. Horse and ponies of all sizes and breeds are eligible and usually compete with their peers in size and experience. The ring classes evaluate various criteria defined by specific rules for each class, such as overall impression, performance, manners and way of going of the horse, neatness of attire, as well as the skill of the driver. First, we will go over formal turnout. Formal turnout was typically reserved for the wealthy as it was very elegant and refined. According to the American Driving Society, drivers should be dressed conservatively according to the style of the present day. Any attempt to introduce period costumes or gaudy trappings is discouraged. For formal turnout, gentlemen should wear gloves, a top hat or bowler, suit jacket, and tie. Ladies should wear gloves, a stylish hat that can have a veil, and a long-sleeved dress or blouse suitable for a formal affair. According to the ADS rulebook, brown gloves are always appropriate for the driver unless rain gloves are needed. The driver carries the whip for use as an aid. The whips can vary in length for the amount of horses. Typically, it should reach the outside horse's shoulder. An apron or lap robe should be of a solid color material and harmonize with the upholstery of the vehicle. Additionally, in formal turnout, the horses are very well bred and have the highest quality conformation. They have a lot of presence and can be very high-stepping and elegant. They are typically dark-colored or gray with minimal white markings. Multiples should be perfectly matched in size, color, movement, and way of going. The harness should be black with metal parts of the same metals as the bright carriage parts. Bridles should have square or D-shaped blinkers and patent leather accents with metal fronts and rosettes. Harness should be black leather with tan leather reins. The reins should be long enough to reach the groom in case of an emergency. Formal vehicles can include a park drag, road coach, gigs, or phaetons. The undercarriage, body panels, springs, poles, and shafts are usually painted a dark shade of blue, green, or maroon. Body framing and most iron parts are always black. The fenders and dash are patent leather and are stitched onto a frame. Any metal fittings can be brass or chrome, and formal vehicles will usually have lamps. For formal turnout, vehicles typically carry a groom in full livery. Full livery is white breeches, black boots with russet tops, a body coat with front buttons, brown gloves, a white shirt, a stock tie, and a black top hat. Now we will go over informal turnout. Informal turnout is a type of turnout that is comprised of general vehicles that are used for informal occasions. It is usually driven by the owner, and coachmen and grooms are not required. For informal turnout, drivers will typically dress less formally and will normally wear lighter colors. They still must wear a hat, gloves, and an apron, and the driver must carry a whip. According to the American Driving Society, the horse should be well muscled, have good clean bone, and be of the right size for the cart. He should have good manners with free, striding, straight action. The types of vehicles that are typically used for informal turnout are usually general vehicles that are a natural wood. Some of these vehicles can include a Meadowbrook or a village cart. Grooms should wear undress livery, which is neutral colors, trousers, suit jacket, leather ankle boots, shirt and tie, black or brown derby or bowler hat, and tan gloves. In this section, we will go over spares kits. A spares kit is a set of extra harness pieces and any other tools that may be needed in the event of an emergency. A spares kit can include a wheel wrench, cooler or quarter sheet for each horse in the turnout, length of rawhide string or wire, rein splice or spare rein, trace splice or spare trace, halter and lead shank for each horse in the turnout, knife, leather punch, screwdriver, pliers, small hammer, and a hoof pick. Now we are going to take a look at the turnout expectations for combined driving. Combined driving is modeled after the mounted discipline 3-day eventing. It is comprised of 3 different phases: a dressage phase, a marathon phase, and an obstacles phase. According to the American Driving Society, the dress of athletes and grooms must conform to the style of the carriage and harness used. Jackets, driving aprons, hats, and gloves are required for all competitors. Horses should be clean, well kept, and well mannered. The correct amount of horses is required for each class and must be driven throughout the class. They must be physically fit to compete, and they cannot wear bandages, blankets, or rugs, and they must pass the vet check at competition. As stated by the American Driving Society, the athlete must carry a whip of traditional style. The lash, which may be tied to the stick, must be capable of release and must be long enough to reach all of the horses. Athletes can carry a spare whip in the event that the driver drops or loses a whip. For the dressage phase, competitors can choose to use either a pleasure driving vehicle or a marathon vehicle. Grooms must wear hats, jackets, and gloves for the dressage phase. For the marathon phase of combined driving, drivers and grooms are permitted to wear less formal attire. However, they must wear protective headgear, such as the helmet, and they must wear a safety vest. For the marathon phase, horses should be well kept and well mannered and physically fit just as they are for the dressage and cones portions. However, the marathon phase is very grueling, and the horses must pass vet checks at certain points throughout the phase. For the marathon phase, a special marathon vehicle is preferred. It has a lower center of gravity to prevent it from tipping, and a short turn radius to make tight turns around the obstacles. The marathon vehicle is also equipped with brakes to help stop the vehicle itself. The groom or navigator helps to keep the driver on course for the marathon phase. They also keep the carriage balanced when going around tight turns. The navigator is also there to help assist in the event of an emergency. Synthetic harness is used during the marathon phase because it is very durable and it is easy to clean. The rules for the cones phase in combined driving are very similar to that of the dressage phase. The dress of the athletes and grooms must conform to the style of the carriage and harness used. The same rules apply for the other phases. The horses must be physically fit to compete, they should be clean, well kept, and well mannered, and they must pass the vet check at competition. As in the dressage phase, competitors can choose to use a marathon vehicle or a pleasure driving vehicle. In this section, we are going to talk about the spares kits and medical cards in combined driving. For combined driving, the spares kit that was discussed earlier for pleasure driving is used as well. In addition to the spares kit, competitors are required to wear a medical armband that has all of their vital information in case of an emergency.